Exciting. Thank you all for joining us today. This is a huge turnout, exciting turnout, very active, lots of engaging conversations happening before, and we want them to continue. I thought you said she liked the noise. She just doesn't like my voice, apparently. Okay. All right. Well, I'm Amy Morgan. I'm one of the volunteers with the League of Women Voters of Salt Lake. I also am pleased to be here. And once again, want to thank you and can't wait for this evening. Candidate forums are, I have to speak into this, or I know they won't be able to hear me online. So sorry while I adjust, and I will try to do that. Candidate forums, very important. I know you all know that, and everyone online knows that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. But they do something very important for our community, for our democracy, right? They remind us that democracy only works, right, when people are informed and involved. Right? That's how it works. And casting a vote's important. It's very important. Again, that's why a lot of you are here. But aside from casting a vote, casting a vote when you are, now I'm too close. This is going to be a battle all night. Casting a vote when you are informed about who you're voting for and what their priorities are and why you are voting for them, that is even more meaningful, right? So that's what we're all here for tonight, is to learn about the candidates, learn what their policies are, learn what it is that they're thinking about for the future of your city. And so that's what we're here together and what's so important and wonderful about what we're all doing tonight. So very excited for that. Next, I want to extend a really sincere thanks to the employees of Sandy City, who helped put all this together, helped arrange everything, get it set up. That was fabulous. Thank you. And for all the candidates, yes, thank you. They deserve a. This was a quick turnaround, so do really appreciate that. And for all of the candidates who are here this evening, it takes a lot of courage and commitment to run for public office. And so want to acknowledge that for sure. It's not an easy thing, and it takes a lot of time, and we appreciate you taking time out of this evening's schedule in particular to be here with us and to share your ideas and with all of us, and to just take that little bit out of tonight's schedule. Not a little bit, to take tonight's schedule. Every evening is a big deal when you have to go from work to another engagement. So we do appreciate that. And then throughout the forum, I just want to let you know that this is your chance to engage with the candidates. And you're going to hear questions that are asked of each of the candidates. You're going to hear their answers, their thoughts on all sorts of different things. And if you haven't already had a chance to fill out a question that you can submit to the candidates and you want to do that, the basket is now, the questions are now at the back of the room, and you can still do that, but there is going to be a short period of time because we're going to be collecting those by 6:30 at the latest. So make sure that you do that. But this is your opportunity, right, to engage with them. So make sure that you're taking this chance to listen carefully, take notes, right? Make sure that you are using the opportunity to your greatest advantage so that when you go to vote, that you are the most informed voter that you can be. Lastly, I want to introduce you to Betty Van Pelt. She's another volunteer with the League of Women Voters, and she is going to, I can't see with my glasses and the microphone, guys. So she's going to be guiding us through this evening's discussion to make sure that it's done in a fair and engaging dialogue, and we really appreciate her efforts as well. She also helped set all this up and arrange this evening, so we appreciate her. And Betty, I'm going to hand it over to you. Unless I forgot something. Oh, all right. Well, we're scooching. Maybe. We're scooching. As long as it's not hooked to anything underneath. All right. Becky, it's all you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you all for coming. It's a good turnout. And I am very happy that all of the candidates were available. That has not been the case everywhere. So we are asking.
You're going to have to talk closer
to
Mr. Microphone.
So this will be a question and answer session. There'll be 2 minutes for responses. If we hit something that requires a lot more, we may add something, and we're also going to ask a couple lightning rounds where it's just going to be a raise your hand for yes and don't if it's no. For the candidates, the microphones, to turn them on, you hold the mute till the green light comes on. And then if you could then push the button again to shut them off when you're not speaking, that'd be appreciated so that there's not a lot of feedback. Sorry, and I'm turning my head and.
No, that's because I'm here. I'm interrupting already. You asked if anyone does have a question already, raise their hand and I'll grab it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the volunteers will collect questions if you have the forms filled out. If you just raise your hand, they'll come get them. And we're gonna, if you could have them in by 6:30, that would be great. If more come up later, we'll see if we have time to get them going. This is on Zoom and will be recorded, and the recording will be available on the League of Women Voters website. So we're asking people not to record because it may be disruptive during the meeting. We're also asking the audience to not cheer, applaud, keep discussions to nothing if you can. And please turn off your phones or turn them to silent. After the questions, there'll be a little more time to speak to the candidates. The doors to the building, it was 8:30, they'd be locked. They have kindly added a half an hour. So you can hang around and chat, and you can leave the building after that, but you can't get back in. So again, thank you, everyone. And we're going to give the candidates 2 minutes to introduce themselves, explain why they are running, and give up to 3 of their priorities. And we will start at the far end of the table with Howard Van Horn. Oh, and I'm sorry, candidates, we have timer people, volunteers, that'll give you warnings for staying on track time-wise.
That turned on? Okay, very good. You ready?
Yep, go right ahead.
I'm Howard Van Horn. I'm running for the
Can you hold the microphone a little closer?
Office of Trustee for the Sandy Suburban Improvement District. That's your sewer district. The Sandy Suburban Improvement District trustee initiates policies, rules, regulations to provide sewer service for about 45,000 residents in Sandy,
Howard.
White City,
A little closer, sorry.
and Midvale. SSD, which is the acronym, provides a safe, efficient, and physically responsible sanitary sewer service through about 160 miles of collection lines and delivers the wastewater to the South Valley Water Reclamation Facility. I'm a longtime resident of Sandy. I'm a graduate of the University of Utah with a degree in business administration. I'm an Eagle Scout. I'm a veteran squad leader sergeant in the U.S. Army. I am 59 years married to Carol Ann Robbins and father of 3. My 52 years of work experience has included 13 years of retail management, 8 years of property management, 6 years of military experience, 14 years of governmental relations manager experience. And I kind of think that the top issues out there for the sewer district residents are rates, so that there's no changes, okay? And that would be for both owners and businesses. And also communication to the property owners and non-property owners. If elected, I will work closely with elected officials within Sandy City, White City, Midvale City, and other governmental entities to facilitate and promote mutual cooperation. I firmly believe we should serve our God, our family, our country, and I will faithfully serve your interest. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold the microphones close to your mouths so that Zoom can pick up what you're saying, please. Okay. Hi, my name's Catherine Bradshaw. I'm a lifelong resident of Sandy, and I currently serve as a Board of Trustee for Sandy Suburban Improvement District. I'm a special education teacher at a local Sandy Elementary School. In addition to teaching, I have 20 years of experience in accounting for a few construction companies. My involvement with Sandy Suburban Improvement began in 2012 when we had a backup in our home. We had a young family and our repair estimate was $15,000, which was more than we could afford at that time. So I started attending the board meetings and talking with staff and the board about solutions for homeowners for these costly repairs. The lateral repair policy that Sandy Suburban now has came out of those conversations. So my positive experience with working with the board members and staff inspired me to seek election for the board in 2019, and I've served there ever since. Since joining the board, I've prioritized conservative budgeting through helping to keep rates steady at $1,504 a month and property taxes unchanged for 25 years. The district paid off our bond in June of this year, and we are now debt-free, which is exciting. I remain committed to keeping the lateral repair policy, protecting groundwater, and helps reduce the financial burden for homeowners. I have been honored to serve the residents of Sandy Suburban Improvement District for the last 6 years, and I look forward to continuing to make the district even better. Thanks. Please hold applause till the end. Ready?
Hi, my name is Iva Williams and I live here in Sandy and I feel super lucky to get to live here. By day, I'm a software administrator. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I garden and I ski and I bake cookies. And then with the free time that I have left during the day, I decided to run for District 3, City Council seat, District 3. I've learned a lot. I started with some pretty strong issues, but 3 issues that I started with that remained. My top priorities are number 1, police and fire, public safety. I believe that Sandy's a safe city. Sandy's a beautiful city. And I believe that we should repay the people who make our city so safe by making them feel safe also through their salary, through their pay, through their education opportunities. A second issue that I think is really important in Sandy are our parks and open spaces. Protecting our parks and open spaces are one of my top priorities, and that involves Dimple Dell, that involves Little Cottonwood Canyon, that involves doing everything I can do from the city level to ensure that we don't build the gondola up Little Cottonwood Canyon. My third priority is sustainable development. So how do we ensure that as Sandy grows, as the downtown area grows and expands, that developers adhere to our values? And if we don't get out front and we don't have a pretty solid plan, our values are going to get outpaced by development. I work every day as a software administrator. I work with large groups of people to move processes forward, and I believe my work plus my fresh face and my fresh perspective on local government are what make me uniquely qualified to hold this seat. Thank you very much.
Is it on? Okay. Hi, my name's Chris Nickel. I'm born and raised in Sandy, and I'm married to a retired fire chief. And I retired from residential real estate appraising 4 years ago. My son is recently commissioned in the Army, and my daughter started the U. So we're got some things going in our family. But my main thing that I really want to tackle is residential speeding. What we've been doing, I can't say it's not working. It's just what we've been doing. And so we need to think outside the box and do something different. That doesn't mean more officers on the street, because that's a crappy job. No officer wants to sit and give tickets. So I want to look to technology. I want to look to signage. I want to look to how we build streets. And so those are, and they're one-time costs instead of ongoing for officers. No, I love the officers, don't get me wrong, but they don't like to do this job. So technology can help them.
Well, my name is Shanna Davis, and my husband and I have lived in Sandy for 27 years. Oh, I should say I'm running for District 1. Forgot that part. But we've lived here for 27 years, and we've raised our triplet boys here. They're 24 years old, and one of them has autism. We all survived. And I say medication for everyone. People say, how did you do it? Anyway, I'm just kidding. But anyway, it was a lot of work. I have a bachelor's in information systems, and I spend most of my career working for American Express Technologies, and I worked with folks all over the world. And it was so fun. I absolutely loved my career. But my kids were more important. I'm currently a Sandy City ambassador, and I have been volunteering for the city for the last 4 years. I have a strong working relationship with Sandy City administration and the department directors. I previously been a state and county delegate multiple times, and during the legislative season, I've gone up to the Capitol and advocated for individuals with disabilities. I absolutely love volunteering. And now that my sons are raised and they don't need me so much anymore, at least I tell them that, I'd like to elevate my service to our community and run for city council. Meeting the residents, going door to door and talking about their concerns has been my absolute favorite. And I have loved every minute of it. Asked some of the department heads, because I've called and talked to them about the citizens' concerns. They all know me. I am running to listen, to serve, and to be a representative for District 1.
Good evening. I'm Brooke Christensen, and I am also running for the City Council for District 1. I'm honored to be here tonight with the League of Women Voters. They put on amazing events for us every election, and it's really appreciated. I grew up in Sandy. I went to Sandy Elementary, Mount Jordan, and Jordan High School. And now my husband, Ben, and I are raising our 3 children here. I love this community, and I'm passionate about protecting it, what it makes it such a great place to live and to work and to raise our families. I previously was a District 1 council member from 2017 to 2021, and I focused on issues that directly impact our daily lives: public safety, fiscal responsibility, responsible growth, and government efficiency. I've championed local small businesses such as Kuahara Hosel to adjust zoning in order to keep them open. And I am proud to have increased positions and pay for our public safety personnel, and also coordinated Sandy's involvement in the first National Day of Service. As a council member, I served on many committees like the South Valley Chamber of Commerce, the Health Center Theater Board, CDBG and Historic Committees, Public Utilities Advisory Board, South Valley Sports and Tourism, the Jordan River Commission. There's a lot of them. But beyond the city service, I've always been actively involved in our community because I believe leadership starts with showing up and working alongside your neighbors. Some areas that I volunteer in our community are all local PTAs, school community councils, Sandy Community Coordinator, precinct vice chairs and chairs, and currently an ethics committee, Girl Scout leaders, alumni associations, the Arthritis Foundation. And if elected again, I'll continue to bring the same level of dedication.
Hello. Yep. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out to this forum. I am Evan Tobin. I am running for Sandy City Council at large. I'm apparently the only male candidate running for city council. So, and we are losing one male. Zach Robinson had done a good job as my representative council of District 3. And I'm looking forward to hopefully having Iva Williams as my new representative. We have two other guys, Aaron DeKaiser and Ryan Meacham, but otherwise I'm up here with the women. I am mainly running for city council because I came to Utah because it's so beautiful. I was raised in New York and I came out here to ski like in 1979, and I have fallen in love with this place, and I bought a condo here in 1990. And I've lived in Sandy over 25 years, and I love Little Conwood Canyon. And I think that this plan to put a gondola up Little Conwood is the worst thing that could possibly happen to that beautiful canyon. I don't understand why the busing hasn't been improved. UDOT Phase 1 said busing should double. Instead, it got cut in half. I don't know what we can do. UTA is this public-private entity. It has very bad controls. And I don't know, Park City has good busing. They have free busing. Maybe Sandy needs to get into the busing business. We need better transportation here. The new master plan has good things basing population density around the Kearns district, and I hope to get more information out during this time.
Thank you, Evan, and thank you, League of Women Voters, for putting on this event. Always a good event. My name is Brooke D'Souza, and I'm running for the at-large city council seat. I presently hold this seat. This is the 3.5 years into my first term, so I am seeking re-election. I am doing so because I believe, well, number one, that experience matters, and I'm running to continue serving Sandy with practical leadership that delivers results. In the 3.5 years that I have served on the Sandy City Council, some of the accomplishments that I can point to would be saving taxpayers $300 annually in credit card processing fees, because I worked with city staff to change the way that that those were being billed to the city and put those where they more appropriately belonged. I also was able to create an email address that allowed residents to more easily reach the city council members, especially as they may change every 2 years and some of our names may be difficult to type or spell correctly. And so I created citizen comment at sandy.utah.gov to be able to reach all 7 council members at one time. I also launched the Youth City Council a couple of years ago, and that's been a program that has been really amazing for the youth of our city. And I initiated the First Responder and Autism Community event. We've done it for 3 years now. And again, another really valuable event that we've been able to accomplish in the 3.5 years that I've served on the council. I'm hoping to continue to focus on public safety, fiscal responsibility with an emphasis on affordability, as well as economic development. And I think that focusing on that economic development can be a way to offset some of the affordability that homeowners face and property owners face through those property taxes. Thank you.
Hello, there we go. Takes a sec. I'm Cindy Sharkey. Thank you. I want to thank the League of Women Voters as well. This is the 3rd time I've participated in this kind of event. I feel like it's really very valuable, and I appreciate you guys organizing this when you do. I am running for mayor. I have been your at-large city council member for 6 years. I was planning commissioner for 3 years before that. I have spent my entire career in the IT and tech industries, and I've found how surprising it is that that correlates really well with serving in the public sector. This is all about solving problems, and that's what we do in the tech industry. We identify problems and we solve them through analysis, through study, through engineering, and I found that works really well in the public sector as well. One of the questions we were asked to answer is, why are you running? I fought to become part of Sandy. I was in an unincorporated island, and I was jealous of the services that I saw my neighbors getting. I decided to, I worked to annex my neighborhood. I became part of Sandy, and then during that time, I began to see what I saw as Sandy slowly and steadily getting off track. And so I'd like to put my back into getting Sandy onto a better track. My three priorities are protecting and respecting the taxpayers. That's very high on my list. I also want to preserve Sandy. I want to make sure we don't turn into another Salt Lake City. And that takes a special kind of effort to prevent that from happening. I also want to really encourage economic growth. And encouraging economic growth in Sandy requires relationships. It requires trust and respect of stakeholders, partners, business affiliates. And that's what I feel like I bring to the table in Sandy, and hope I'll earn your vote as mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Monica Zoltansky. I'm seeking my second term reelection as mayor of our city. It just feels right to stand when our voters come to City Hall. Thank you so much for being here, participating in person, and those online. Thank you to the League of Women Voters, and thank you to my fellow candidates. Why am I running for mayor? I'm running for mayor this year, the same reason as I did 4 years ago, but this time with a deeper connection, purpose, determination, and experience to bring to bear my skills, experience, and relationships to better our community, to make our city safer and stronger. I love Sandy. That's the reason I'm running. Full stop. I didn't grow up as a little kid always wanting to be in elected office. I came to public office advocating for Dimple Dell Park to keep our park from being paved in Sandy. One thing led to another, served 2 years on the city council, and now I'm closing on my 4th year as mayor. In just the short amount of 4 years, we've come from the economic uncertainty and isolation from post-COVID to where we stand today. Anybody notice the headline yesterday? Welcome Utah Jazz to Southtown Mall, joining the Utah Mammoth. In my first term, Sandy is taking its spot as a sports entertainment capital, not just of the South Valley, but of the state, that takes vision, forethought, planning, and that is going to benefit Sandy residents, keeping our service levels high, property taxes low by economic development. Public safety. As a former Sandy City prosecutor, no one has stood more firm with our Sandy police and firefighters to make sure that they have the resources they need to stay safe on the job while they're keeping us safe. And finally, informing and educating our residents, building that sense of civic pride. You've seen it, you feel it, you see it at all of our city events. So I'm very proud of our accomplishments, and I'm so honored to be with all of you, and I look forward to a great discussion tonight. Thank you.
Thank you all. One of the major concerns, which has been mentioned by a few of you, is housing affordability and the growth and how to control that. Would you like to start, May? Thank you. Everything's 2 minutes except maybe the closing statements.
Okay. So I ran on a platform of preserving our neighborhoods, protecting our single-family neighborhood zoning. Like you, my most important, valuable investment is my home. And when I bought into my neighborhood, I did so with the expectation that I'm going to know what the zoning is in my neighborhood, and I know what to expect from year to year. I fought against rapid change in infill development and high density development that my opponent approved as we were on the city council together. I voted against Farnsworth Farm on 700 East, opposed the rezone of agricultural properties that were falling one after the next. And that was a big reason I got involved in running for office in the first place. So protecting single family neighborhoods, open space preservation, Little Cottonwood Canyon preservation is part of my DNA. That's who I am as a Sandy resident and who I have been as an elected official, and I have the voting record to prove it. Now, that doesn't mean we resist growth or that we put our head in the sand, because a healthy city is a growing city, and a healthy community has a plan, a vision, and foresight for how we're going to encourage growth. We just completed the Sandy Pace of Progress. I've got a big book on my desk if you want to see the Sandy Pace of Progress, an award-winning master plan that sets the roadmap for our city's growth for the next 50 years. And that was completed with thousands of points of public comment over a 2.5-year process. I'm so proud to have led that. The result is new growth will be concentrated in our commercial center. We'll have the height, we'll have the density, we'll have the townhomes, we'll have the towers, but it's going to be in the commercial center between I-15 and tracks. It's not going to bleed out and change up our single family neighborhoods. We're going to see a new type of housing with more affordability, partnering with responsible developers, partnering with and implementing the tools that are available to the state. My team, my economic development team, we just got approved for a housing transportational redevelopment zone, an HTRZ zone that will bring $75 million of infrastructure money to Sandy in the next 45 years.
Thank you for that question, whoever asked it. This is the biggest issue affecting Sandy. Affordability, not only in housing, but in all aspects, is off the charts. In Sandy, it is so critical, it's at a crisis level. We have squeezed our oldest generation and our youngest from being able to afford to live in Sandy. It is heartbreaking. Sandy is about families. That's part of what differentiates us from Salt Lake City. We're about families. Our elderly are moving out of Sandy because of the burden of tax increases, and our youngest generation can't afford to live here at all. The thing we have to remember is that every time we increase taxes, we decrease housing affordability. Our way of earning more money when we need it is to tax your home. That makes a critical problem even worse. I have voted against 4 tax increases during my tenure as a city council member, not because I was looking to score political points, but because I found a way to balance the budget in every case without a tax increase. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes studying every single page of our 300-page budget, but we can do that, and we need to do that because we need to respect and protect our taxpayers from the ever-increasing burden that they're experiencing. The growth, our population is actually declining, and part of it is because it's too expensive to live in Sandy. So we need to continue to do our part to protect the taxpayers, protect the homeowners, protect Sandy's families, and keep taxes low.
My response to working towards housing affordability, if should I be reelected this next time, it is a very challenging topic. It's not something that Sandy alone is going to solve. It's a statewide problem that every community, even those rural communities, are now facing. What we can do, and if we aren't responsible as municipalities in doing our part to solve the problem, then the state's going to step in and solve it for us, and they will enact a one-size-fits-all kind of solution that doesn't allow any of our individual communities to maintain the local control that helps us, that allows us to maintain that community character that I think we all care about. And so I think that it's important that we don't just say no, but that we have those conversations and we work together to figure out what that can look like in a way that still feels good for all of us. Housing affordability, like others have said, is not just a mortgage payment. It is property taxes, it's insurance, it's also your water fees, your garbage fees, it's electricity and gas, and it's all of those things that a homeowner needs in order to maintain habitability in their homes. I get really concerned. I have a lot of neighbors that built their homes, that have lived in the neighborhood for 35, 40 years and now need to downsize, large homes, large lots, and there's nowhere in Sandy for them to go. They're looking for smaller homes, smaller lots, maybe some HOAs that have some amenities that can help take care of and maintain the yard. And we don't have that product. And so my focus, should I be reelected, is to work on finding that middle housing, that missing middle housing that gets talked about, and where it may be appropriate in Sandy. Again, not in a way that disturbs the unique character of each of our neighborhoods, but in a way that can fit our need and look towards the future to maintain residency throughout the city and bring our young people back.
Okay. Sandy is definitely changing very rapidly. And Monica has come up with a great plan. That's why I'm supporting Monica. This pace of progress is a wonderful document. It definitely is focusing the growth on the Cairns district and the I-15 corridor and areas where businesses and apartments should be, turning it into a real city. But part of that is that we also need proper public transportation for that. We have too many cars here. We need good transportation, and we need transportation that's reliable and that operates like a real city. You know, I come from New York. If you want to go downtown and go out, you know, use the subway, use buses, and they're always available at night. Maybe they're not as frequent, but you know, we have UDOT, UTA that stops bus service. If you wanted to go to the game last night downtown and watch the hockey game, and they went into overtime, if you had taken tracks down there, you wind up getting down there and then you have to take an Uber back because UTA stops. We need to talk to UTA. We need to get more leverage on UTA and get proper things. It's the same thing that goes on with Little Conwood Canyon. Why they have buses that go up and stop at like 6:30 at night coming down. That's when all the traffic is there. Why can't they stagger it? Why can't people après ski? Why can't they come down at 8 o'clock at night and not have to sit in traffic? Our transportation, our being a real city is really going to help. And I think my time's up.
So I'm concerned about affordable housing. We don't have affordable housing in Sandy, and very little affordable housing. There's 2 apartment complexes that are rented based on your income. And we've got about 4 mobile home parks. Of all of the majority of the housing, any of it, non-single family, multi-family housing is in District 1. District 1 is from 7th East, everything west of that. So all of the majority of the proposed density is in District 1. And that corridor between I-15 and tracks, a large part of that is homes. So proposing to put the density there is not something I agree with. I do agree that we do need some density and it needs to be stuck to the cairns, but the entire corridor of I-15 is not, in my opinion, a good fit for District 1. If we're talking about preserving the neighborhoods, we should talk about preserving all of the neighborhoods and not just the ones above 7th East. So that's my opinion. Yeah, I just think that we do need it. We need middle housing, like Brooke said. We need starter homes. We need townhouses. We need places that are under $350,000, which is almost impossible for families to move into and younger people. That's what our city demographic is lacking right now. And that's why we're going to struggle if we can't encourage them to move in. But I think we need to take a hard look. If we say we're protecting neighborhoods and then we're proposing density from I-15 to tracks, because there's 25% of the population of Sandy that lives in that area, and I don't think they would appreciate that.
I echo most everything that's been said today. Again, for District 1, we do have a lot of apartment complexes and townhouses, and we are missing that middle piece. I, for one, am looking to downsize pretty soon because I'm kind of tired of yard work. And my 24-year-old sons who still live at home, they can't afford to live here. So that's why they're still living with me. So we need to fix that soon. And I do agree with the high density housing, but mostly in the cairns. I say it. I'm not a fan of high density housing in the neighborhoods. I will never really vote for that. We had that happen in our neighborhood, and we still kind of have a bad taste in our mouth over that. But that's where I am. Yeah, we definitely need the middle housing. And Thank you. I know you've already heard a lot, and so I don't want to repeat what they're saying. Oh, and I want to say this. I have been to every housing workshop that city council has had, and so I do understand the housing issues that we face.
Can you hear me? This is from the perspective of District 3. We virtually have zero land left to build. There are a couple larger parcels where things could be built. I was on the council before and was able to get a sensitive area overlay zone put in that would decrease any mass density, and you can only use buildable land to calculate any type of density. So there's a lot of fault lines up there. There's a lot of roads that can't be built. So I was really happy to get that done, and so are the residents around there. I do agree with the others, the missing middle is something we need to look at. I think senior housing is critical right now. There's a great little community off 106th and 1700 East. It's called Red Feather. That is a senior community, and it's pretty much self-contained. It's smaller lots, yes, but we do need to have some give and take when we're talking about senior housing, offering them what they want. And I do think that we may have to start looking at not smaller lot sizes, but building a different type of home, maybe a duplex that looks like a single family. That's an option that we can look at. The state has come out with some really good incentives for builders, and we need to incentivize those incentives that the government is going to give to the builders, and work with great builders that know Sandy, that want to keep Sandy as beautiful as it is.
So I attended the workshops as well, and I think just to echo what you said, we realize in Sandy that we have an affordability problem, but we're missing that middle housing. Like, what do we do when we want to downsize? Where do we go, and where do young people go when they want to move into the neighborhood? And there's lots of data out there, and there are lots of examples out there, and we got a lot of great data during those workshops. But I think the question becomes, what do we do about it? And I think we don't know yet is the answer. So when we're looking for who we are going to put in place, we want to make sure we are looking for someone who can react creatively and react within the confines of our neighborhoods and this is a problem that we're going to have to solve that we've never had to solve before. So it is time to really use those problem solving skills you get in your everyday work and apply them here at the city level. I've knocked on a whole lot of doors, and I can tell you housing affordability is probably in the top 3 things I've heard from people. Where do my kids go? They live in my basement. Where do we go? We want to move into a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square foot house. And the good thing about what we're doing in Sandy is we have spent the better part of the summer understanding the problem, getting the data from the governor's office and from the Utah project, and understanding our baseline. And now it is time to start really developing the plan that is going to help us get the solutions to the problem. Thank you.
So this question is a little different, I think, for Howard and I, just being for the sewer district. But as a resident of Sandy, I am concerned about that as well. I have 4 kids and 2 of them are grown, and I'm concerned about where they'll live in the future. They love Sandy. But as far as the sewer district goes, we are largely built out. We include some of Sandy, not all of Sandy, all of White City, and a little bit of Midvale. And so we're mostly built out. We do have a little bit of room for growth. And that will affect the sewers when we have more demand on the sewers. The good news is that due to decades of proactive planning, we're well positioned to handle any future demand. So our major trunk lines have already been upgraded. They've already done upgrades at the treatment plant, which Sandy Suburban goes to South Valley Water Reclamation Facility. And we can already take more demand on the sewer system. We have worked over the years with Sandy City's projections, and so that we're ready for that. Overall, Sandy City water usage has decreased the last few years with conservation efforts and with our lateral policy. That has helped to create that has helped to prevent infiltration into our sewer system so that we're treating less wastewater than we have in the past. And I do remain committed to this proactive approach of maintaining and making sure the sewer is ready for more demand.
Can you hear me? All right. Carol and I moved into White City quite a while ago. I think there was 8,000 people in Sandy, and you know, it was wide open spaces, not so. With regards to the sewer district itself, I'd like to improve the information distribution to your citizens, try to make it a little better. I propose that all the board meetings be live on the web and recorded so that if you missed it, you can pick it up the next day. I also believe that much of the business that you'd like to know about, that you don't know about, is done behind closed doors at closed meetings. I propose that they are to be recorded, and 4 months from the time of the meeting or some date in the future, that also go on the web. In other words, nothing hidden. I think that it's really, really nice that the district provides free lateral repairs, okay? The only problem is the people that use it are not the property owners so much, okay? Or at least abuse it. It's the renters who don't know how to dump stuff down or don't care, and because residents ends up subsidizing it. You're the only district that even does that, okay? The policies and procedures, okay, need to be reviewed and date stamped. I found areas in there which just has, it's supposed to be, and it's a blank. Go online and take a look. Okay, I have the legislative knowledge to help. Well, I'd also like to change the name of White City Water and the name of Sandy Suburban Improvement District. Get the White City out of the name because it's not just White City, it's White City and Sandy. Get the Sandy out of the name because it's just not Sandy, it's Midvale and White City and Sandy. Any which way, I'll listen to you. Bye.
Okay, thank you all. We do have a lot of questions. We're not going to get to everybody's questions. So if you still have things that are unanswered at the end of this, we're not stopping now, but this is a warning. The candidates will be available for a little while after this, or you can always reach out to them. In fact, why don't we just do a quick, how do you prefer people contact you? You can start. Microphone
Okay,
problem,
there we
sorry.
go.
You can call me anytime.
You could, I'm on www.votemonicaz.com. My cell phone is published in my materials in the back. I answer my own phone directly. Please give me a call, 801-742-1733.
My website is votesharkey.com. It has a contact page where all different methods to get a hold of me. All my materials have my phone number on it, and that number goes directly to me, and I answer every single call. Thank you.
I can be reached by phone, either a call or text at 801-410-0366 or by email brook4sandy@gmail.com, or my website brook4sandy.com also has a contact me page.
I have information sheets over there at the table. It has my phone number, 801-561-1631. It also has my email, electevantobin@gmail.com. And you're welcome to take one of these as well as my platform.
You can call my cell phone. It's 801-455-0800. Call or text me, or email me at votebrookchristensen@gmail.com. I also have a website. It's also Brook for Sandy. Mine has a 4. Brooks has a word 4. So you'll get either one of us.
I have a lot of ways you can get a hold of me. My cell phone is 801-550-5571, and I do answer my own phone. I'm also on social media on Facebook. You can reach out to me there at Shanna Davis for Sandy City Council District 1. And I'm also looking at comments that people in District 1 make, uh, like on different groups that we have on Facebook, and I'm trying to respond to those. You can also email me at shannaforsandy@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you.
So I'm kind of old school. I prefer a phone call or a text, and my number is 801-694-9482. You can also look at my website, votechrisnickel.com. But again, my cell is best. Call or text 801-694-9482.
Let's see, I have a contact form on my website, which is electivawilliams.com, and that'll take you to all my social and email. And then you can also call or text 512-913-9854, and I'll have one of my 7 secretaries answer my phone. You can call or text me at 801-831-5693. And then my personal email is kbradshaw1@gmail.com. I also have an email at Sandy Suburban, and that's kbradshaw@ssid.com.
My home phone number is 801-738-0018. My mobile, 8385-389-8358. I live at 1125 Bronze Lane, Sandy, Utah. And my email address is hvanhorn@msn.com. And I would propose, if I get on the board, that every trust member's home phone number, email, address, how to get hold of them is on there. Because my motto, got a sewer problem? Who you gonna call? Call Howard Van Horn.
I have a lot of gondola questions from the audience. I think I will start with, what role does a mayor or a council member play in the decision process for the gondola? So we've started a couple times with the mayor. So Cindy, do you want to start this?
It's a prize question. What is our role? We don't have a direct role. The gondola decision is the state's decision. It's made by the state legislature. I have very good relationships with all the Sandy legislators, and they are quite surprised that this is such a big issue in the Sandy election because they're not talking about it at all. I had a discussion with one of the legislators a couple nights ago who said that his expectation is that it won't come to the legislature for any kind of question about approval, funding, or anything for at least 6 to 7 years. So how it became a major issue in the Sandy election, they are scratching their heads. They have no idea. I do want to also go into, though, some people have suggested to me that while the Sandy mayor or any of the Sandy City Council has no role in the decision making, some people have suggested that we have influence. I have tried to influence the legislature. I can tell you that that is a kind of an iffy thing. I do have the endorsement of Sandy legislators, including Representative Eland, Okerlund, Miller, and Senator Cullimore. So if you're looking for someone who has influence, that person would be me. But what I would influence them on is rolling forward ASAP with the phased approach. The phased approach is what we need to do right now. We have problems that are mounting, problems that are very impactful to Sandy. We have issues that arise every single winter season. We need to resolve them. We need to get going. The lawsuit that the mayor has proposed is holding that up. We need to get our problem solved immediately, and rolling forward with the phased approach is the way we would stop a gondola. So we need to get going on that right away.
Little Cottonwood Canyon is the reason that I live in Utah today, the reason I moved from the flatlands of Ohio to Sandy, and I know so many of the Sandy residents feel the same way. I've studied this gondola issue for years. I have been active in the Mountain Accord public comment for years. I campaigned on this issue, running for city council, running for mayor. My position is unchanged. The gondola would be an unmitigated disaster, a train wreck for Sandy. I oppose the gondola. But my feelings aside, what is my job as Sandy mayor? When I survey my residents, 90% of Sandy residents say, we don't want the gondola and we sure as heck don't want to pay for it. So when 90% of my residents say I don't want something, I don't care if it's the mayor's vote or a state legislator's vote or the county's vote. I'm going to get involved. I'm going to roll up my sleeve, amplify the voices of my constituents, and make sure that Utah tax dollars are protected. You cannot call yourself a fiscal conservative and support the gondola. And my opponent, not only did she say late change in her position
Positive.
about opposing the gondola, but she's written a letter to Salt Lake County Council discouraging them from taking a position against the gondola. Compare that to my action plan, suing UDOT, using all the tools available to the mayor, including using the courts, using legislative influence, and communicating with my residents. So I will bring all the resources of the mayor's office to bear to amplify the voices of my residents. And I'm serious about it, and I'm consistent about it.
No, we're not doing rebuttals. We're just gonna do a quick, do you approve of the gondola or don't you, hand raising. So if you approve of the gondola, raise your hand. All righty. That gets rid of a whole lot of the other questions. I really like this question. Why do you think your opponent would make a good, whatever the position you're running for is? Please, no vague answers. And I'll give you a minute to think about it while we do some more lightning round. Do you accept, or have you ever, well, this is kind of a gondola too, accepted donations? Do you, the one I'm giving you time to think about? Why would your opponent make a good council member or mayor? Or they want you to compliment your opponent and try not to be too vague. We'll skip that one because that's gone all right. Do you support extending Highland Drive through Dimpledale Park and Hidden Valley Golf Course? If yes, raise your hand. I didn't know this was going on and I live in Sandy, so. Do you support extending Highland Drive through Dimpledale Park and Hidden Valley Golf Course? If yes, raise your hand.
Do think that Highland Drive should go through. The stress that 13th East is feeling is too much for residents. If that is going to explode. If we don't do Highland Drive, 13th East gets turned into 7 or 9 lanes and Wasatch Boulevard gets widened. That is something that we don't want to happen. We can mitigate that with going over the Dippledale Park with a beautiful bridge, because I've seen some plans of what UDOT wants to do. I would fight so hard if they wanted to do a fill bridge. The fill bridge would be catastrophic to the park. So those are my views on it.
Would anyone else like to comment? Okay. raise your hand if you would be in favor of campaign contribution limits. Limits. Campaign contribution limits. Do you support a pedestrian bridge over I-15 connecting Front Runner to the Sandy Carnes district? Why or why not? I guess that's a quick down the table. We'll start in the middle and go left and then come back to the mayor when we hit the end. Go ahead, Brooke.
Is this the one that goes to 94th? That one?
Yes.
No,
Oh, wait, no.
one on 106th? 102nd?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't think that's a problem. I don't know that it'd be highly used, but I'm not opposed to the bridge.
Hear me. I'm all for that idea, especially with our entertainment district that we have that's going to go on in the Cairns. If people come to Sandy for the entertainment, it would be really great if they could get off Front Runner and just walk across that bridge and just walk and enjoy all the things that Sandy has to offer. That is the goal, to have a very walkable area. So I'm all for that.
Right.
We don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, no, I do support it. And one, because it's funded in the state. And we know right where it's going to be. It's right by Hale Center going over to the university facility. I think it's great. I think it would enhance our downtown, bring new life, bring new restaurants. I think it's a no-brainer that we do that.
Completely agree. I think it would encourage public transportation. It would even help people who maybe not even coming to the entertainment district. Maybe I want to travel somewhere and I can really easily get onto Front Runner and go to work or something. So yeah, I'm totally in favor. I think it would just be a great benefit.
I also would be in favor of that. I think that we have a parking issue right there with all of the things that are happening sometimes. And so that bridge might be helpful for using public transportation, but as well, maybe we can think about some parking that if people are going to walk across the bridge, what that could look like.
Yeah, I'd go for that. I am totally in support of it, but I don't understand how it's going to help if Front Runner doesn't run on Sundays. I don't understand why Front Runner, just like UTA stops the buses and they stop the tracks, UTA does not run Front Runner on Sundays ever. We can't be building all this infrastructure and then not utilizing it. Somebody's got to be a liaison to UTA and get them to do what the people need. It's just ridiculous.
My answer to the question, along with most of the questions that get asked, is it depends. I support connectivity from the Front Runner station to Sandy and the hopeful proposed entertainment sports district hub. I do think that the pedestrian bridge doesn't necessarily solve the problem that we're trying to solve with that. I do worry about the cost versus utilization. We're a four-season state, and walking a distance depending on how it's done, and again, like, it depends. I don't know that we've gotten information that's really specific that says what it's going to look like or whatnot. And so again, I support connectivity. I think that the pedestrian bridge is underwhelming. I think that there are some other conversations that the city can have with our South Jordan counterparts and maybe some of those private entities to look at other options that may include some sort of bus transit. Thanks.
This is a complicated thing. This isn't a question and a direct answer without analysis and justification. We're talking about a $50 million pedestrian bridge, taxpayer funded, sales tax county assessment. We should be asking questions like, what is the projected usage? What's the projected return on investment to Sandy? If you can tell me that Sandy residents paying for this, $50 million will get a return on that investment that'll pay back that $50 million and then some, I'm in. But we asked these questions at a meeting. No one knew the answer to them, so I voted against. What is the usage? What is the justification? What are the taxpayers going to get for this investment? If it's just a pedestrian bridge. If it were a pedestrian and vehicle bridge, okay, you have my attention. But how many people do we think are going to walk across I-15 from the front runner station to our downtown district? It's a really important question. And it's not just a, sure, that sounds good to me. It is a, tell me all the details. Give me all the information and the justification to prove that Sandy's going to get a benefit from this and that the taxpayers in the end will get a return on that investment.
You know, the pedestrian bridge option is now feasible. It was a moonshot, long-term transportation plan moonshot. When I came into office, the previous mayor said, if you could do one thing, get that pedestrian bridge from Front Runner to Sandy. Why is that so important? Because that Sandy side connectivity opens up all these state tools for housing redevelopment. So that $75 million that we have now to build our infrastructure on the Sandy side wouldn't be possible without that bridge connecting. UVU has a pedestrian bridge. It works great. When we toured Seattle and saw the Kraken Center, there's a community college on one side of the freeway, a pedestrian bridge that connects to the hockey training facility. Almost identical, mirrors what's coming to Sandy. So I'm very proud to be the administration that brought this with the help of our legislators that said, okay, now you have a funding mechanism. Salt Lake County collects 1 cent on every $10 of sales tax revenue collected will go into a fund to build critical infrastructure, not only for Sandy, but for other cities along the Wasatch Front. This is how it's possible. Sandy's not buying a $50 million bridge or paying for a $50 million bridge. Our contribution actually is a very, very small fraction, and that translates to a huge yield and a huge benefit to Sandy. So not only will we have the infrastructure to connect to the Salt Lake Community College side, to the Front Runner side, we have the opportunity now to create the HTRZ zone that will be the key to new housing, new affordable housing, and new transit, active and passive active transportation and rapid transit connectivity in Sandy.
Okay, we have a question for District 3. Can you speak to how you would ensure that the process of closing one of the local schools is conducted fairly using data-driven processes? How could you collaborate with the school board to ensure this? How would you advocate for the local public schools?
So it's a big concern. Those are the other parcels of land that I could see something happening on. But the school district, not a lot of people know this, they do not have to apply to any planning and zoning of the city. They have their own, they approve their own. So it's going to have to be relationships and really working hard to come to an agreement on what they could see, because the zoning is the question, and we can do something about the zoning and how they sell it. So we do have a say in it, but I don't know if we have any say with Canyon School District.
So I'm pretty sure we're talking about the 2 schools in District 3 that are currently at risk to close, and that's between Park Lane Elementary and Granite Elementary. And I've been going to the school board meetings, and I've been meeting with the communities in their community meetings. And I know that this is a big concern. I think, I don't know that
I don't have even on city council, we don't have a say on how the school board conducts their business. But I think as community members, that's where we make those phone calls and make sure that the committees who are assigned to or to deciding which of the two schools are going to close, to make sure those committees are fairly set, and to make sure, and this is just as a community member, and then also make sure that the data is used, because the school board does have a very clear set of criteria that they would like to use to decide which school to close. And I think just showing up, if I were the city council seat, which I'm doing it now anyway, but just showing up to the meetings and making sure that my community's voice is heard, even when they're not in the room, is the way that I can make sure that data is used to make the decision, and that the committees are fairly allocated with the right people on the committee to make the decision. Thank you.
Okay, and there's a question for SSID. What are your priorities? Maintaining infrastructure, earthquake proofing lines, the manhole remediation that was kind of started because of the sinkholes that were showing up, or something else? What are your priorities for improving infrastructure? And I know there are some things in the works. Will they continue, I guess?
So my priorities are continuing to upgrade aging infrastructure. We've done a lot of that already. Our main trunk lines are all upgraded. We take a proactive approach, and so the staff is out pulling manholes every single day. We have 3,700 manholes within our system of lines. And they pull manholes every day, and they camera the lines to find any problems before they become a problem for homeowners. And that is one of my priorities, to keep doing that so that we're prepared. We are financially prepared for anything that might happen with an earthquake. We have a nice, strong reserve, and we have an emergency policy in place where our staff can just jump on repairs. If there's a big problem, we don't need to have a meeting. We have an emergency repair plan already drafted. I mean, it's not drafted. It is drafted, but it's adopted, and we review that with the staff every year. We are doing a manhole rehabilitation project where we're replacing top hats of the manholes, which is like the concrete part, and we're looking at cost-effective ways to do that and have them last as long as possible.
Well, having worked with public employees for 14 years, I find that what you need to know usually comes from the floor. The floor holds up the ceiling. I would certainly encourage input from the employees. As far as planning for the future on that, I am a big fan of a rainy day fund and that. I also was with the military. I was sent to Dugway I was the CBR NCO, that's chemical, biological, radiological. And I learned a lot about what we needed to do to protect the citizens of this valley. I was also sent up to the U to the seismology lab to learn about earthquakes and that. And it's not a question of if there's going to be an earthquake, it's just simply when. I believe there has to be a clear plan of action and a clear plan of funding for that action put together. Thank you.
Okay, this will probably be the last question. We're running out of time, so I won't go back to the one I asked earlier. Go back to it? Okay. I liked it, but majority rules, and we've been outvoted. What accomplishment are you most proud of that qualifies you for the position you seek? And also, if you have a final statement, we'll kind of wrap them together. Let's start with Iva. You can stand up if you wish.
Stand up? Okay. So, an accomplishment that I'm really proud of is the time that I spent as a community organizer. And when I was a community organizer, I worked with different groups in the community to come forward, to meet with their local government, and even up to state government to solve a problem. It was very specific. We had an agenda and we did what we needed to do. And we were very successful as community organizers. I'm also very proud of my time at work and the things I've done at work and obviously my family. But my time as a community organizer taught me a couple of things. And it taught me that people-centered policy and grassroots engagement are how we propel a city forward. It's how we propel our processes and our everything we're moving through the city comes from community-centered grassroots engagement. And I think that taking that experience and understanding when you put a strong leader out in front of a very united community around especially around an issue, one of the things we've talked about tonight is the gondola and how do we have what impact can we make. And in my time as an organizer, I understood and I still understand when you stand out front and you have 90% of your city behind you, your legislator will listen to you. Your voice is important, and I'm excited to be able to bring your voice forward at the city level and anywhere else where I can talk inside of a room. Thank you.
Yep.
It's on. Oh, yes. Okay. When I originally got involved with Sandy Suburban District, I was not a politician. I was just a mom and a school teacher. And I saw a need in the community. And so that's why I got involved. And throughout my time there, I have become very proud of the lateral repair policy. I think that it is amazing for homeowners. It saves a lot of money. It protects our groundwater. And it is for all homeowners. It's not just for landlords that rent out their houses. And I know several people that have been able to take advantage of that program. We've been able to remain financially strong with adding in that money into our budget every year. And it's about $550,000 that we have set aside for that repair policy. And the repairs that they're doing now last 30, 40, 50 years. So most will not need to be repaired again, and that will just continue to help our environment. And we've been able to do all of that without raising our rates. We're the second lowest in the state. The very lowest is down by Cedar City. And then we've been able to keep our property tax the same. We collect a tiny bit of property tax, 0.00039. And we haven't changed that for 25 years. So I think that's the thing that I'm the proudest of, is just getting involved and making a difference for the community.
I'm known as a disciple of the great yogi Lorenzo Pietro Berra. You probably know him as Yogi Berra. And part of his advice when it comes to decision making is if you come to a fork in the road, take it. That's what I intend to do. I've come to a fork in the road, I'm going to take it. And that's why I'm running for office. But every entity, governmental entity, and SSID is no exception, requires knowledge of the legislative process. And I spent 14 years, 10 of which with the Utah Public Employees Association as a lobbyist on the Hill. And I've also worked with state of Utah, county, city, special service districts, improvement districts, statewide. I know policy and procedures backwards and forwards. I'm skilled in writing legislation and how to get it into the Office of Legislative Research and General Counsel and through the Office of the Legislative Fiscal Analyst with a decent fiscal note so it has a chance, and through the legislature itself. The state of Utah's budget is released from the governor's office of budget and planning. And I've spent many a night going through it, trying to find an extra dime or so. And it's there, but you gotta know how to do it. Why should you trust me? I've been taught since childhood that my word is my bond and Van Horns don't lie. In my service time, I gave an oath to the Constitution to preserve and protect it. And as a scout, I'll do my duty to God and country. There was one other quote that I really liked, and I'll impose on you, and that came from the great humorist Will Rogers. And he said, "I never met a man I didn't like." That goes for me too. Thank you.
Mayor, if you'd like to, and then we'll head back to the middle.
So my most proud accomplishment is definitely the enhancements to public safety. When I came to office, we were losing firefighters in record numbers, not just rookie firefighters, but mid-career, senior career firefighters. I stopped everything to meet with the firefighters and say, why are we getting so many resignations? I've only been mayor for a few months. What's going on? Well, we were not paying enough. We were not putting 3 hands on every engine. We had failing infrastructure. Our fire stations where they were working out of had mold. The living quarters didn't even pass our own fire code. Other agencies were picking them up, poaching from our department. Our most valuable assets, our experienced firefighters and paramedics, were going to other departments. So immediately, I went from 2 hands on an engine to 3 hands on an engine. And then we set course for fire station reform, police and fire department reform. When I was on the city council at COVID, when it came time, clutch time to fund our police wages and not dinker with our police pay, I voted for that budget. My challenger voted against it. That created a lot of uncertainty in our police department. I didn't want a repeat of that in our fire department. We built a new main fire station, added 9 new police officers, 18 new firefighters, built a new fire station. Our public safety is as strong as ever. And for the first time, we have the depth of resources to send firefighters out to wildfires. We send a team to the Palisades fire in California. They bring back that valuable experience to protect us. You asked a positive comment about my opponent, my friend Cindy. She is a very hard worker. She loves Sandy. I will give her that, and I credit her for her outstanding work for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. I appreciate that. I wanted to answer that question as well. I really admire Monica's public speaking skills. She's really smart. I value her opinion. We don't always agree, but I do value her opinion on things, as I do everyone. I don't want to spend my time refuting what Monica said, just to say I have never, ever voted against police and fire in any way. Never, not once. I haven't ever voted to cut their pay, ever. And so any assertions to the contrary are just completely untrue. I do want to tell you about my biggest accomplishment, and it's not my own analysis. I've been making decisions in Sandy City for 8.5 years, and there are a lot of things that I'm proud of. Decisions that I've made, things that I've crafted, directions that I've taken, directions that I've led. But the public is telling me the thing that they appreciate the most that I've done is to save the curbside bulk waste program. That was gone. A contract was signed to end that program and do dumpsters instead. 200 dumpsters for 26,000 people. The public went wild. The outrage was off the charts. I was listed as the person you should contact if you were opposed to ending the program. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails I got. At the height of outrage, 6 a minute that I was getting from people. So what did I do? The program had ended. My opponent voted against that twice. But I saved the program. Not only that, but I also made it a law in Sandy that we collect our bulk waste that way. It's an ordinance. So that means that no mayor can change it in the future. It would have to be a legislative act by the city council to end that program. So it's safe. It's an important program. Not only is it convenient, but it's also beautifying for our city. And that I think is the most important aspect of it.
Thank you. I wanted to answer that question too. So I think I've seen a level of passion from my opponent on the topics that he cares most about. And I think that it does take a certain level of passion to be able to do this job well. As far as the accomplishments that I am most proud of, I would say keeping in line with public safety being a top priority, the initiation of the first responder and autism community event that I worked with city staff, with our firefighters, with our police department to pull off. And this last August was the third rendition of that. It's important because, and it's special to me because I do have a 27-year-old daughter with autism, and her whole life I've been advocating for her. So advocating for the residents of the city is completely second nature to me at this point. And in my advocation of her and people like her, I spent time with the in the training when the police were legislated to receive training in giving that parent support so that they could have, outside of just textbook, a parent representation of the characteristics of somebody on the spectrum. And from that, it became clear that to supplement that training, to really help them understand the complexities of a person to correctly identify them out in the public, that interactions would be helpful. And so therefore the creation of this event where it can be a very casual, fun environment for both those residents on the spectrum as well as our first responders to get to know each other and create some familiarity and also supplement that training. If reelected, I look forward to continuing those types of community engagement opportunities to solve the problems that we have in a way that's unifying.
I never really wanted to run for city council, but I ran for city. I'm running because I'm retired. I'm semi-retired. I'm here because I like to ski and I like my lifestyle. I'm a single dad, raising a daughter who's now 15 years old. Today is her birthday. And who knows what the kids are doing at my house right now. And but as I've said, I love Alta, and I lived in Alta for 20 years, had a condo in Alta for 20 years, and I would really hate to see this gondola. So I am running, I am committing myself to the public service and to doing this work in my semi-retirement because I think it's important. Another thing I thought was important, one of my accomplishments when I lived up in Alta, I was recruited to be the treasurer of Alta Community Enrichment, which is the Alta Arts Council. And because they were working out of a shoebox is where their money was. And I was the treasurer, and I got their books in order. After I finished my 3-year stint as treasurer, I became president of the organization. And now the organization is a thriving organization with a 6-figure budget, and they have an endowment, and they're going to succeed. This is a piece of service that I feel that I should do, and so I am running for the city council, and I hope I get your votes, and I hope we can stop this gondola and get better transportation and make Sandy a better city.
So there are two pieces that I am extremely proud of, I guess, from my past experience. One is my budgeting of the Sandy City. In my first career, I, as my mom likes to say, I put my MBA to use, and I managed supply chains for multi-million-dollar international companies. And then after I stopped doing that to stay home and raise my children, I was able to be on the city council and use those skills to analyze and adopt many budget items. Some of the things I'm proudest of are the additional funding for the police and fire fighters during my term that I was able to draft, and also the quarterly reviews of the budget so that we made sure that we were on track for our spending. Those two things I think were really good directionally for the city. The other piece that I'm proud of is the trust that the residents of District 1 have put in me. I've been off the council now for 4 years, and I still get about once a month a call from residents asking questions that should not be coming to me. And so to be able to direct them in the right areas or connect them with the people at the city or point them to the correct representative, I have really appreciated the trust that they have placed in me to continue helping them, even though I'm no longer officially on the council. And so those are the two things I'm most proud of with my past service.
My biggest accomplishment that I have, besides raising my triplet boys, that was not easy, is my involvement with the autism community. Um, I can't remember what year it was, but when LeVar Christensen was our legislator and I was a delegate, I had many opportunities to talk with him about the importance of increasing the funding for the Department for Services with People with Disabilities. And we call that the DSPD, because they didn't understand the reason behind releasing additional funds. You can't keep that amount the same every year because then no one will come off the waiting list unless someone dies. So I had a great opportunity to educate him. And also one of the other things in the autism community I did, I'm a big support of parents with newly diagnosed children. Whenever I talk to someone and they say, oh, my son was just diagnosed, I say, have him call me. I'll talk to him everything that I've been through. And then one more thing that I did was help raise $25,000 for the Autism Council of Utah. And I do applaud Brooke D'Souza for putting that autism night together. And now I'm going to talk about my opponent. She's very experienced and she's a volunteer in a lot of different organizations. And we do agree on a lot of things, don't we? And we were kind of friends. And and we thought we were anyway. And her love for Sandy City. She does love Sandy.
I was on the council 4 years ago as well, and my what I really liked most, what I did was make the animal shelter no kill. I implemented euthanasia by injection instead of the gas chamber. The gas chamber was physically removed from the shelter. Put together a spay and neuter program that didn't, and all of this did not cost residents anything. I'm probably the only one here that says I've added acreage to parks. The Dimpledale Preservation Community Park was during one of my terms, and it took a lot. There were a lot of people that were involved, but I did add input and knowledge on that. The sensitive area overlay zone is a very solid land development code. It's been challenged 3 times and it's held up, and it will be critical going forward to keep the density off the foothills. And I'm running because my job is not done. I will address residential speeding, and I will get a dog park on the east side of Sandy.
I'd just like to thank all the candidates very much for coming out tonight and sharing your information with us. I'd also like to thank the audience for coming. This is recorded on Zoom and will be on lwvsl.org if you'd like to view it. We also did a vote 411.org and asked each of the candidates the same questions, so you can compare them side by side on that if you wish. The candidates will be hanging out for a little while if you still have questions and wish to speak to them for a little while. And again, the doors will lock at 9. You will be able to get out of the building after that, but not back in. Thank you all very much again. I'm going to turn it over to Amy Morgan for. Thank
Well, I'm going to be really, really fast because I'm afraid of doors locking now for some reason. I've heard it several times tonight. And Betty already touched on most things. So just huge thank you to everyone involved, candidates and audience members alike. You have shown once again that, being informed citizens, you know what I mean. All right, I have some problems with pronunciation sometimes, but you know what it means to be informed voters and putting that civic engagement to the test. So really appreciate you. And all of you, if you have more questions, Betty already mentioned, they'll be sticking around for a little bit. And if you have additional questions and you don't have time to do that because the doors might be locking on you in a little bit, then right. And you have their contact information. You have no excuses, right? We went down the line and it's recorded. So if you forget, you can listen to it again, right? So you have all their information. And if you have the desire to get some more voter resources, the League of Women Voters table is out front before you came in, right, where you picked up the question cards. And there's information on the vote401.org website that Betty mentioned. It's just a general platform where you can get all sorts of information about voting and your candidates, like personalized information about your own ballot. And it's a great resource for everyone. I would encourage you to go check that out if you need to or would like to. And then make yourself the most informed voter that you possibly can. Get a plan together before you actually vote for that day hit, and encourage all that you know to do the same. Friends, families, neighbors, and thank you once again. Really appreciate it. Yeah.